because some of us are heading, Patty and myself, are going to be heading to the White House right after this. So thank you so much to Senators Murray, Stabenow, and Stabenow, and Murphy for joining us. What did I say?
You got it. Took a while.
Took 3 times and I get there. Last night, the Senate took an important step towards averting a shutdown with good, strong, bipartisan vote to move forward with the CR. A clear signal that parties in both houses, majorities in both parties in the Senate, rather, want to pass this extension ASAP. If both sides continue to work in good faith, I'm hopeful we can pass a CR by tomorrow and avoid an unnecessary and costly shutdown. There's every reason in the world to make this an easy, uncomplicated, and drama-free process. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to work in good faith. What the Senate cannot do right now is mimic the House in its chaos, where a vocal minority of hard-right rabble-rousers want to bully their way into making a shutdown happen. Only in the twisted logic of MAGA extremism is it a disaster to extend funding. That's what they said. It would be a disaster to extend funding. They want a shutdown. And what will happen if they get it? VA offices close, food inspectors don't leave the jobs, nutrition to children is cut. All of these programs are at risk if the government shuts down, but to the hard right, a shutdown is precisely the point. They want to create pain and chaos for the American people in order to bully their way into getting what they want. But now, even many Republicans, I've been really heartened in the last few days to see that a good number of the more mainstream Republicans are rejecting the hard right and doing it publicly. That's a very good sign for this and for the future. The Republican majority can't get anything done over in the House because the hard right keeps sabotaging things on the floor, even their own appropriation bills. But the majority of the House, or many House Republicans, are just sick of that bullying as well, and they know how bad it is for their own party and for the country. If the majority of senators and representatives continue working in good faith, we're going to keep the government open. We're going to continue on the appropriations process. So, I urge my colleagues once again, let's work together, bipartisan, both houses, pass a CR quickly, avoid a shutdown and the pain that a shutdown would entail. Patience, patience. I got 3 people and some more speeches, some more of my speech. But we will get to you. On the supplemental, as I mentioned earlier, some of my colleagues and I will be headed to the White House this afternoon to discuss the importance of the National Security Supplemental. It's of highest importance. It must be bipartisan. The work's not done on the supplemental, but I am really hopeful that negotiations are in the right direction. We are closer than we have ever been, and the sense of cooperation between Leader McConnell and myself and the leadership of both sides, you've heard what Senators Thune and Cornyn have said lately, bodes very well for getting things done. For the first time, I'm optimistic. For the first time, I think the chances of getting it done in the Senate are greater than not getting it done. This is good news. Democrats are trying very hard to keep this process going. And the amazing efforts of my Senate colleagues, particularly Senator Murphy, who was here, our caucus just gave him a large round of applause, deservedly so, a few minutes ago, and Senator Sinema as well. They've been working at this doggedly for weeks, as frankly, so is my staff and I. I must at least make 10 phone calls a day in regard to this issue, at least 10, from early morning till late at night. Passing the supplemental is one of the hardest things the Senate's done in a long time, but we've got to finish the job. As I've said before, history is looking down on us. Ukraine is already suffering from a lack of armaments. And if Ukraine folds, we're going to be suffering the consequences, not for months, but for years to come. Years to come. And it'll make the world a lot worse than it is today. So, we have to get it done. At stake is the security of our country, the survival of our friends in Ukraine, the safety of our friends in Israel, getting humanitarian aid to the Palestinians in Gaza, but nothing less than the future of democracy. So we can't come up short. We're going to keep fighting, fighting, fighting until we get this done. Senator Murray.